Right, if you thought the Samsung Galaxy S9 was an interesting concept, you're going to want to stick around for this one. The Samsung Galaxy X, aka the foldable smartphone, is confirmed. This is everything you need to know. So, back in 2011, Samsung, which has been at the very forefront of the flexible display technology, introduced its first bendable AMOLED display, which was revolutionary. People were really impressed. This was the first time a screen could be unfolded and folded without leaving a permanent crease there. The only problem was it was a little bit awkward to bend, and also you'd notice after doing it many times, the brightness along the crease would actually fall. Everything then went pretty quiet until early 2013, when at CES, Samsung announces its partnership with Displays and it shows off its first fully bendable display. And this was far better. It was very flexible to bend, but unfortunately it wasn't integrating a touchscreen interface. This was really just a tech demo, but actually it got people very excited. Unfortunately, the tech was far from ready, and as you can imagine from building a touchscreen flexible device, there are a lot of hurdles to overcome. First of all, it's got to be thin enough to fold. I mean, you imagine a piece of paper, as you make that paper thicker and thicker, it becomes harder to do so. It's got to be thick enough to have all the components inside. Obviously, the company can't afford to develop proprietary components to fill the entire of the phone, so they've got to use standard mobile phone parts, but at the same time allow them to bend. Now, even once you've done that, it's hardly game over, because you also need to make it so that no matter where in the phone you bend it, none of the parts are going to get displaced and none of the connections removed. It's a tricky task. Now, you'll probably notice that since this event in 2013, whilst we haven't seen any smartphones with flexible displays as such, we have seen some which have curved displays. And Samsung kicked things off with the Galaxy Round, which was a very interesting phone. It looks completely unlike any smartphone you see today, and the idea of the device is that the curve in the display and the back of the phone would allow it to fit more ergonomically in the palm of your hand and against your leg in your jean pocket. And this curved design, whether people really liked it or not, was a great step in the right direction. Now, 2018. 2018 is when DJ Ko, the president of Samsung Mobile, has now confirmed we're going to see the Galaxy X, or at least that's the current goal. On top of that, since then, in the Korean market, the phone has actually been fully certified, which means that they've now reached somewhat of a final design model. He also interestingly said that when the Galaxy X, which is just a codename right now, releases, it is going to be under the Samsung Galaxy Note brand, which potentially implies that it's got an S Pen too. What are we actually expecting to see? Well, to make one thing clear, this isn't going to be a flexible phone. This isn't going to be like those displays Samsung showed off in 2013, where the entire phone is bendable. What this is, though, is a device that can be folded. So there's essentially going to be two states to the device, a folded state and an open state. And what Samsung have done to make this possible is really smart. Through years and years of innovation, they've now created what is essentially an artificial muscle. It is a set of interlocking tiles which essentially pull the components every time the display is folded, so that they actually move with the display. So compared to each other, they don't actually move at all, so they can still remain connected as they were when the phone is flat. Now, the latest rumours are suggesting the phone is going to come in a 5-inch display size, which seems a little bit contradictory to the fact that it is a Note smartphone, but the idea is that it will fold out to a 7-inch tablet. But the real question here, something we haven't answered yet, is why do you want it? Why do you want a smartphone that folds up? There are two potential benefits. First of all, it means that you can have something which is in a phone's form factor, and then when you fold it out, you've got a slightly larger screen for more immersive content. And then when you want to use it as a phone, you fold it back up again and you slip it into your pocket. So long story short, you get the benefits of a tablet in the form factor of a phone. Now, to be honest, in theory, this sounds fantastic. This sounds like everything we've wanted for the future of mobile devices. But I think it's got a couple of potential holes in it. First of all, if you've got a tablet screen which you then fold to become a phone, that's going to mean whatever you're saving in the length of the phone, you're losing in the width, because essentially you've got two layers folded over each other. So next year, when you're picking between your Galaxy S9 or your Galaxy X, you'll be faced with a smartphone that is either about 7mm thin or one that could be up to 14. On top of that, this rumoured 7-inch tablet mode display size is good. I mean, it's a size up from pretty much any conventional smartphone we've seen in the past. But the question is it enough of a size difference? Is it enough of an increase from, say, the Galaxy Note 8's 6.3-inch display to justify this entirely new flexible display technology? Is it enough to justify potentially a $200 to $300 higher price tag? I'm not really sure. Now, the real cherry on top of that is the fact that, whilst a lot of rumours are stating a 4K display on the Galaxy X, the latest model Samsung released of its flexible display technology only had a 1080p screen, so the chances of us seeing a flexible 4K display, I think, are pretty low in 2018. Because also to bend, the phone is going to have to use a plastic display as opposed to conventional glass, there's also a chance that it's going to feel a little bit less premium when you're using it. So I'm not trying to say this is a terrible idea and it's going to completely suck when it launches, but I do think that it's not going to be without compromise. One thing we we do know is that when this phone does launch, it's going to release in very limited quantities. The current rumours are suggesting 100,000 units split between 9 countries, and the idea here is that Samsung is going to test the waters. Because this is a niche and almost completely new category of products, it's got no idea how much demand is going to be. Also though, they've got to make sure to protect their own smartphones. If they suddenly released 2 million units onto the market, all of a sudden they might find they're damaging their own sales of the Galaxy S9, which they don't want to do. So guys, that is the Samsung Galaxy X. And whilst it is a very exciting prospect, which could potentially spell out the next generation of smartphones, unfortunately, I think most people will look from a distance and stick with their conventional smartphones for at least a couple more years. Thanks a lot for watching, I'm Mr. Who's a Boss, and I'm signing out.